Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. This evening for you I have a Spiegelmom Scraps layout featuring some shimmers paints, lots and lots of die cutting, and some gorgeous cardstock from Cardstock Warehouse. We are doing a collaboration with them, and so I'm showing you here all the different dies I'm going to be using in my photo. This layout has no pattern paper. We're going to just use some dies and this gorgeous pack of cardstock from Cardstock Warehouse. So I want to make a big wreath layout. So I'm going to start by taking this template, which is just a Creative Memories template that will cut a circle if you want it to, but I'm not going to use it to cut a circle. I'm going to use it to just give myself some guidelines. And then I'm going to use this paint. So this is a beautiful blue shimmers paint. It says Wisteria Lane on the top of the bottle, but I think it is mismarked because I have two bottles of shimmers paints that are called Wisteria Lane, and the other one's really purple. So I don't know if it was mixed up, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm using that guideline to paint myself a circle. I'm going to keep the circle loose and free and just kind of painterly. I'm not worried about the fact that those pencil lines are going to be there because I'm going to cover them all up anyway. So a huge, huge thank you to Cardstock Warehouse. They sent us the most gorgeous cardstock. It's all these colors of like reds and pinks, and it's really, really nice cardstock. I was super impressed. I was super impressed with how generous they were, and I was super impressed with the quality of their cardstock. So I'm just going to continue on here. I'm going to paint this circle. I'm going to add some splatters, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on die cutting. So like I said, this layout turns out to be quite different than my normal layouts. For one thing, there's no pattern paper, and there is stamping though, and it ended up being crazy busy, just a little, and I wasn't too sure about it, but I think in the end it turned out good. And I stopped recording. This is another one of those layouts where I stopped recording. I wasn't super happy with it, but I also knew that I was just going to stress, and it was just going to turn into a big disaster. So I stopped recording, kind of walked away, came back, and fixed it up. So the end of this, and of course I forgot to turn the video camera on. So at the end of this, you'll have to take a good look at the finished layout, either in the still photos or on my Instagram account or on Facebook, to kind of get an idea of really what how the layout ended out. Because the way it is at the end of this video is not how it ended up being when I was finished with it. So you can see here how I am creating this kind of circle. I'm making it pretty thick. I'm making it a nice fat circle, so to speak. Lots of paint splatters and just really giving my wreath a base. So now I'm going to show you how I put together all these flowers. So keep in mind, I filmed me putting together one of each of the flowers, but I really put together, I think I ended up putting together like close to a dozen flowers, all told. So what I did was I cut, this is a Maggie Holmes die. It's a really, really old one. It's maybe from her first or second collection, and it makes this super pretty, kind of wonky, layered flower. And I really like it. I think it's a really pretty die. I was super happy to get it. I ended up buying it on eBay because it was so totally sold out everywhere. So I cut all the different pieces, and each piece I cut from a different color of cardstock so that when you layered them up, they were all different. And I'm just going to go in with my life-changing brushes and 4 or 5 colors of Altenew inks, and I'm going to ink these up. That's going to give them just a touch of dimension, a little bit of what is that? Something different type thing going on. And yeah, so what I did was I took each color of cardstock, so the light pink, the dark pink, and I took each of the dies, all 5 of the dies that were in that die set, and I cut one of each color. So I would pull like my red, and I put each of the flower dies on the red paper and cut it. And then I took the next pink color and I put each of the 5 dies and cut it. And so at the end, I ended up with 5 of these large Maggie Holmes flowers. And it was kind of easy to run it through the die that way because you got like 1 flower out of each die. And then I just mixed and matched the colors. I hope that makes sense. So I went through and I color matched the cardstock to my Altenew inks, and I did that for the green and the red and the pink. And I just have a different blender brush for one blending brush for all the reds and then one for all the greens, which I'm going to do now. And so now I'm going to go ahead and glue these together. I did the same thing with the leaves, 2 shades of green, a light and a dark. And I went ahead and did the blending of the leaves as well. So now it's time to layer up these beautiful flowers. And I left that in so you could see how you layer them up in case you have this die and you're kind of like, how does that work? You can check this out and then you'll know. So just also off camera, I die cut myself a title. So I used a metal die set from Ink Road Stamps. It says Hello Gorgeous. I've used it before. I really like it. And what I did was I did 3 passes with white cardstock, and then a pass with colored cardstock, and then I changed it up at the end. So it ended up being about 4 layers of stacked die cuts, which I love that look. So I'm just gluing these flowers all together. As you can see here, I'm using some tape runner, my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, which I'm running out of, and I really, really need to get that ordered and get some here to me as soon as possible. So thoughts on my color ideas and the way I am approaching this layout. So I really wanted to use the photo of my sister and her family, and everyone in the family is wearing blue. Oh, I'm adding Nuvo drops, just in case you're looking and going, what is she doing now? I'm adding Nuvo drops. Everyone in the family is wearing blue, and then it's outdoors, so there's, like green in the background. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I pulled in enough green and enough blue into this layout that the pink, the flowers, kind of looked like what they're supposed to look like, just floral elements, and that it didn't look weird, and that the red didn't clash or look off with the photos. And in the end, I think that I accomplished my goal. And so I did. That's why I did blue, if you were wondering. Like, why didn't you do pink around that wreath? It's because I wanted to make sure that my wreath and everything kind of flowed really well with my photo. And so, yeah. I don't know how I feel about this page not having pattern paper. I kind of feel like I needed pattern paper, but I also didn't want it to get too crazy busy. So I'm just showing you the finished flowers. Here they all are. So how gorgeous is this? I post a picture on Instagram of all these beautiful flowers. So the next die that I used, you can see the Hello Gorgeous there. My stack of the Maggie Holmes flowers, and then the other die I used, which is this amazing die from Altenew. It's called the Layered Rose 3D die, and it's the bomb. I love this die. It's super gorgeous and detailed and intricate and just fabulous. I think you'll probably be seeing this die again because I really am impressed with it. And I'm doing the exact same thing that I did with the Maggie Holmes flowers. So I'm taking each of the layers of this rose, inking it up a little bit to give it some dimension, a little bit of color variation, and just to give it a little bit more interest. And then I'm going to go ahead and layer these all up using the my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to get it all there. And this was a very gluey process. Oh my goodness, there was glue everywhere. It was all over my desk. It was all over my fingers. It was an incredibly gluey process. I should have used a Xyron sticker maker, but I searched my scrapbook room, and I'm telling you what, I swear, I had like 6 of them. I'm always getting them for free, and I don't know where they all went. I hid them on myself because it would have worked perfectly for these leaves. So I cut my leaves all from the same cardstock. It's a Basil Grapple cardstock. It's my favorite green. And then I would ink up each of the layers just with a little bit of like a mid-tone green and then a dark green, and then glue them all together. And this layout took me so long. You guys, I think I worked on it for parts of 3 days. It was really fun to do. I'm really, really glad that I did it because it was what was in my head that I wanted to use this cardstock for, and I was determined that this was going to be my layout. But oh my, it was a project. So I went ahead and off camera cut myself a matte from the lightest color pink cardstock for my photo. And now I'm going to go ahead and start creating this wreath. So I'm starting with these I call them huge because they're way bigger than the other ones, but I started with the Maggie Holmes flowers, which are larger, and I only had 5 of those. So I placed those in different areas. And the other thing is that they are flatter than the Altenew ones. And they're also, because they're flatter and they're like kind of wider, I knew that I could kind of put the Altenew roses on top of the Maggie Holmes ones, and it wouldn't look, they wouldn't look odd, and it would work better. Like I kind of knew that that would be what I would do. So I'm starting with the flat Maggie Holmes flowers, and then I'm going to go into the Altenew. I'm going to add the Altenew ones, and some of the Altenew ones are going to get pop dotted, so they have some more kind of dimension, and you can see how that blue is just going to peek around the flowers to kind of give the illusion of like a sky color, which was kind of my thought process when I was making this layout. Okay, so now I've stuck and plunked all of my roses, and I want to add a little bit of a whimsical touch to this layout. So I grabbed this stamp set. This is called Oh Happy Day. It's an Altenew stamp set, and it was a freebie. Like they gave away, if you placed an order on this one day, you got a free stamp set. And I always look for those deals, and I really like this stamp set. So I went ahead and placed an order that day and got the free stamp set. And it has these cute little whimsical flowers. So I decided I really wanted to add that little touch of blue, a little more blue, and I found my perfect ink to match my Shimmers paint. So I'm going to go ahead and add my title. Now my title I'm not super happy with. I knew when I was putting it down I wasn't super happy with. I wasn't sure how to fix it. The Hello Gorgeous was just too light. It wasn't popping the way I wanted it to. And then you'll see I pulled these gold thickers out, but there wasn't, and added the gold thickers to be Hello Gorgeous family, but there wasn't gold anywhere else in the layout. And so, yeah. In the close-ups, you'll see that this Hello Gorgeous is a bright red, because what I did was I took that huge bright red that really lovely bright red cardstock, the darkest cardstock we got, and I recut the die cuts, and then I just layered another Hello Gorgeous over the top of them. So if you're wondering later when you look at the close-ups how I fixed that up, that's what I did, because that was glued down, it wasn't coming up. And so what I did was I just die cut a new Hello Gorgeous, which just made the title bulkier, stand up a little higher, made it pop a little more. And then the family, I went through my stickers because I didn't like how the family is kind of, you'll see here, like it's kind of smooshed in, and I wasn't happy with that. So I did a more deep dive of my stash, and I found these little blue tile stickers from Pretty Little Studio, again pulling in just a little more of that blue. And then I added a little bit more stamping to kind of even everything out, and you'll see all that in the close-ups. So now I'm taking these gorgeous sequins. These are the pink promenade sequins that Jody created specifically to go with the Cardstock Warehouse paper pack, and I am scattering them everywhere. I'm scattering them among my little paint splatters and the whimsical stamping, just to add that like whimsical touch to my layout. And this is going to be the last little bit. I'm also adding some wood veneer, the wood veneer hearts in the kit. There's also these big red hearts. They weren't working size-wise for my layout, but they're super cute, and I'm hoping I can use them on another project later on. So be sure to head over to the Spiegelmom Scraps or Cardstock Warehouse Instagram accounts or their websites. You can grab these beautiful sequins, and then you can grab the coordinating cardstock and have some lovely, lovely projects. And yep, that's it. Thank you so very much for joining me today. You can see here all the little changes I made to my layout. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think, because this layout was really a little bit out of the box, and it's a little bit like busier and more than my usual, but I think it turned out really pretty and I'm happy with it. Okay, I'll talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye!